And we have to jump into this Damian Lillard situation. 33 years old, owed a ton of money by the Blazers, but he is the heart and soul of that franchise. And we hear maybe he goes to Miami, maybe he doesn't. You're right there in the middle of it all. What do you think is going to happen?
That's the best part about the Damian Lillard and Portland Trailblazer relationship. Nobody the hell knows. Thank you for having me on, but it's messy out here. It's a disgusting relationship that has been full of misinformation and, leading astray and not doing enough. And Damian Lillard loves Portland, Oregon. He just built a mega mansion out here about a month ago. His family, his business interests, everything is rooted in this city. Like, I really think he is one of truly the elite athletes that, like, when he talks about being loyal and committed to a team and a franchise, he's one of the rare ones that, like, genuinely means it. Unfortunately, his team sucks, and they keep building the wrong way. And so now we're stuck in this weird limbo where he wants to win, but he values the city, the fan base, the franchise so much that it's tough for him to actually pull that trigger and say, get me out of here. So we're kind of at a standstill right now because the team is idiotic.
Wow, what a spin on that. I would like to say thank you, first and foremost, for waking up this early because we know you were on West Coast time.
Yes.
So it is not an easy feat to be on our show. So thank you. Round of applause. But my question is, how do you think the reception is going to be if Damian Lillard chooses to leave? Because I think for the rest of us, all of us know that he has been loyal to Portland this entire time. And if he chose to go somewhere and start new, I don't think a lot of us would fault him for that. But do you think the reception would be similar in Portland?
Oh, I was playing golf yesterday with a friend of mine, and we talked about, like, hypothetically, like, imagine if he's like, I want to go to Miami. And you guys know the NBA works is if the player wants to go to a team, it's going to happen. That's usually how it goes with stars of Damian Lillard's caliber. If he went to Miami and came back to Portland, his first game back, wearing a Heat uniform, I told a buddy I genuinely believe that they would root for Dame more than they would root for their own team. He is the greatest player in the franchise's history. Clyde Drexler deserves to be in the conversation. He was that for years. Dame holds all the records. Dame has ended 2 playoff series on a shot. Dame has invested not only, like, himself and his sweat equity, but, like, financially a lot of stuff into the community here in Portland. And so I think if he were to actually ask out, there isn't a person with an actual functioning brain that would go, I don't get it. We understand what's happening here. They said they wanted to get older. They wanted to get bigger. And then what did they do? Guys, they drafted a 19-year-old point guard. They drafted a 6'5" point guard. They drafted a 19-year-old French kid who scored 5 points a game in New Zealand. So they've done the exact opposite of what they said they were going to do and haven't helped him whatsoever. Nobody here would bat an eye if he did it. It would just be devastating because so many people love him.
You mentioned Shohei a couple minutes ago, and he has been unbelievable, leads the majors in home runs, is batting over 300, and this could be his last season with the Angels. Just ballpark figure, since we were discussing salary as well. Can you even fathom or put a number on how much you think he's going to get paid?
First off, shameless plug, we'll ask Mike Trout. We've got him on the show coming up later today.
Oh, nice.
So got to drop that because Trout's the man, and he's not been on our show yet, so he's excited about it. His teammate, I would be shocked if his teammate, as long as he's healthy, right? We're always going to assume that when we're talking baseball contracts. I'd be shocked if it's not in the $600+ million range. We covered the money question specifically the other day. Spot Track does numbers projections, and they basically calculated what they think he would be worth as a pitcher and a hitter. And the number they came up with was in the low to mid 500s, like say 530 mil-ish. But here's where it'll still go way higher than that. I think you'll have so many bidders looking at this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, how many more butts you can get in seats, and then this is by far the biggest factor. Right now, this year, for the Angels, he's probably making them in the $20+ million range. There's been reports of 15. I've seen and heard of 25. Not like extra sponsorship deals for him. For the team, sponsorship deals that you would get like as surplus, that you would not get. Some of them are Japanese companies that you would not get in any other scenario. So, and that's what the Angels are getting. So for me, I'm like, if he goes to an even bigger market franchise, I know LA technically with the Angels, but I'm saying like if he's Yankees or Mets or Dodgers or even certain, even the Cubs to an extent, which I don't necessarily see that happening. But point is, I think based on how he's playing now and even taking it to another level, this is a guy who could bring $30 million a year to your team in excess sponsorship money. So if we take that, plus we take what he's actually getting, like you could pay him $60 million a year and he's only costing you 30 because he's bringing you sponsorship deal.
I like Jared Goff a lot. If you look at Jared Goff, I know a lot of people are hot on the Lions this year just as a team. But if you look at Jared Goff's numbers since he came over from the Rams, he has been surprisingly great. And he's gotten better. And I think he's just in a system that suits him better. You'd be surprised to see how successful he has been over the last season or two in Detroit. So this is a guy that I think if the Lions are going to be as good as people think they're going to be, and they are favored to win the division, then it's going to also depend on Jared Goff having a big season. And also, too, this number seems a shade low. Plus, he doesn't have the name that a Joe Burrow has, that a Patrick Mahomes has. And sometimes I feel like when you're trying to bet on these big name quarterbacks, then you're not necessarily getting the value that you deserve, because people, of course, want to bet on the over when it comes to Joe Burrow. Of course, they want to bet on the over when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. But Jared Goff is not one of those guys you say, oh, Jared Goff's going to have a great season. But I think he could.
I don't think he necessarily even has to have a great season. He just has to put up yards. And he's hit this in 4 of his last 5 seasons. The only time he didn't get it was in 2021 with the Lions when he only played 14 games. Last year, he played in all 17 games and went for 4,438 passing yards last season. So the more he becomes the entrenched guy with Detroit, I think they're going to give him more of a leash to be the focal point of that offense, which sounds strange because Jared Goff is, not an MVP candidate. He's not somebody who's like Patrick Mahomes who's going to put up 5,000 yards. But still, as somebody who has looked to be pretty durable, like I'm looking at his career and his game logs, like he's played at least 14 games in every season since 2017. So you need that too. If you want to take the over on somebody, you got to make sure that they don't have a history of missing a ton of games. So I think you stumbled across a good one.
Kelsey and Mahomes come through at plus 230. They came out from the jump. I was surprised I knew Patrick Mahomes was pretty good. Steph is easily the best golfer on the course, but it was Travis Kelce. And those soft hands around the green, it was crazy. His chipping was fantastic. I think Patrick was the better putter, but around the greens, Kelce was unreal.
Yeah, this guy was sandbagging to the max. I accuse you of doing this all the time. Oh, shucks, just me. I don't know anything. And then you rattle off like 10 bets in a row that you win. This is exactly what Travis Kelce did. He puts off this front like he's this meathead. Oh, I'm just here to chug beers. And then you see him spin it on the green. And you're like, where did that shot come from?
Yeah.
And then he's talking on the broadcast about how he's been working on the driving range. He's been working on his swing. So this guy's put in some work to be good at golf for this event. And you could tell. And it makes sense. He's a professional athlete. Like he probably is pretty skilled in anything that he really wants to do if he puts the work in. But I think it's kind of the same deal with like Rob Gronkowski, how people are like, oh, this guy's just a big meathead. He can't be that smart. When actually he is very smart with his investing, with his money. And I think it's kind of a front that actually hides his actual intelligence. And I think that's kind of the front that we got from Travis Kelce yesterday.